All right, guys, welcome back. Tonight, I'm taking a look at the Sirius A from PARTAY's premium screen paint lineup. And this is the charcoal version. We've already taken a look at Sirius C, the black version, and I was quite impressed with it. So tonight, I'm going to be running through some just different content that I like to use on the channel to show you a wide range of different scenarios that you can expect to see, everything from color to white levels to black levels, and just general imagery of things out there in nature, things that your eyes and your brain are very familiar with. So this room is set up, not staged, so that it kind of mimics what you could expect from a lighting in a small to mid-size natural living room environment. We have a floor standing light on set up here, which is just a $10 floor standing lamp from Walmart, nothing fancy. The arcade machines are on. Not that that's adding a huge impact in terms of lux at the center of the screen. We also have the overhead ceiling light on as well. And then the rest of the room, we have the TV on, and then we also have the other two lamps on in the room as well. So very, very natural, realistic lighting. And let's go ahead and take a lux measurement at the center of the screen, and maybe there kind of at the top where the majority of the ceiling light is having the most impact. So that way you kind of get a little bit of a range for how much light is cascading down the screen. So this is a lot more accurate than just throwing your hands up in the air and under a light or anything like that, or trying to stage light in a way that makes it look brighter than what it is. Let's give you actual numbers so that you actually know what we're dealing with here at the center of the screen. So at the center of the screen, we got about 57 to 58 lux at the center of the screen here. And then up here in the brightest part, where the most of the impact is happening, we have about 86 to 87 lux there at the top of the screen there. So you have a little bit of a range for how the light is impacting the top and working its way down. And then also just in general, the ambient light that's just in the room itself affecting the screen. So that way you have a realistic measurement like I always like to provide in these ambient light demonstrations. So we take things as honest as we possibly can. Let's get some impact going of how things are actually looking at the screen in real time, so you guys can see how the screen is looking. Now, I did have some issues with the Luon panel not being as smooth as I would like it to be. It was like that with Sirius C, but a little bit less noticeable because of the color tone difference. That black from the Sirius C actually hid a lot of the imperfections that are actually on the Luon panel that I'm using for the sample sheet here. So if there's any kind of like weird geometry issues there, it's not the projector, it's not the screen paint, it's the actual panel, because it is starting to slightly bow now that I've got several layers of two different kinds of screen paint on there and primer. And then there was also some issues when I had some little pieces of the rollers that were sticking to the screen and not letting me really get it off. So if you see any little weirdness on the screen, it's not the paint, it's from the roller and some imperfections on the actual panel. Just a disclaimer there. So I'm going to go into the picture settings here. I put the projector into its most accurate mode, which is cinema. And there's nothing tampered with here other than the light output. I moved it from high because default picture settings on the projector start you off in high light output. This is a 3000 lumen projector from Epson. This is the COW01. It's a 1280 by 800 res Epson Flex projector. And it has an output of 3000 lumens. Now, being an eco, it's probably closer to 2500 lumens, but from a brightness and colors perspective, everything is in default mode here. Nothing crazy there. Color hasn't been messed with, tint hasn't been messed with. The only thing that's been altered in terms of the picture settings is going from high lamp output to eco. That's the only difference there. So as you can see, the imagery is really, really quite spectacular. It is a brighter screen than what I was seeing from Sirius C overall, but we'll get into the actual dark tones here as we start to. Let me get a little bit more in the center here. That way you can get a dead-on image here, and there we go. That is now exactly kind of what my eyes are seeing, and I want to represent that here for you guys in this demonstration. So you see the colors on the birds, the detail is there. Even though it's 720p, it's actually inputting a signal at 1080p, just downscaling that 1080p signal down to the native resolution of the projector. So it's taking that and adjusting that and scaling that to fit the actual pixel resolution of the projector, even though it's inputting a 1080p signal, which is perfectly fine and completely normal for projectors like this. So let's go into some other content as well. Let's take a look at some of the natural imagery here in this LG demonstration here. So you can see the actual contrast in terms of the detail in the clouds. The white level detail is pretty spectacular here. The colors are fantastic. Very, very nice imagery here from Sirius A. I can definitely tell that the overall image fidelity is definitely at a higher brightness appearance than Sirius C. But I was quite impressed with Sirius C and its ability to project vivid, natural-looking colors and the highlight detail as well. And I mean, this is a very bright projector, and the screen is really, really bright and vibrant here in person. I don't know how that's translating necessarily on camera and YouTube compression, but you can see for yourself that the image is quite pleasing in this natural sort of living room environment here. Great demo here. Lots of natural colors, things that your brain and your eyes are familiar with. It's not an over hyper extended graphic demonstration with a lot of colors on black backgrounds and things like that. Now, black screens are great for graphic and OLED demonstrations, but unless you have a black screen paint like Sirius C that can give you a natural appearance and natural colors and natural imagery, then your black doesn't really mean a whole lot. And we're seeing that transition here into Sirius A as well. Very, very nice, especially with that light from the ceiling fan just cascading right there on top of it. You can see there at the top of the screen how the light is impacting that, but you're still able to get some pretty nice colors and nice imagery there. And here's one of those graphic kind of OLED demonstrations that you're likely to see in a lot of these black screen demonstration type of environments and demonstrations. You'll see something like this too. Again, I've seen those till the sun comes up. I kind of want to take let's take a look at the skin tones really quickly. Once we get past this, commercial here, and just kind of see how skin tones are represented here with this light on in the room. It's handling it very, very well. I can still see all the detail in the girl's sweater there. I'm not sure that that's picking up on camera. Everybody has natural complexion. Nobody is shifted to like tan or blue or this weird beige color or anything like that. And that goes back to that neutral imagery that PARTAY strived to achieve when he was developing the PSP lineup. And you see that accurately represented here in this test pattern. Let's do the whites here. Let's see how whites are represented here. I'm going to play a little bit of the snow. Whoops, I'm not going to try to make this a very long demonstration. I just want to give you an overview, pardon me, of what you can expect. And I'm seeing the same kind of level of quality transition from Sirius C here in Sirius A as well. And we're not dealing with just a tiny little bit of lux at the screen here. We're dealing with a good range of lux cascading from the top of the screen down. So it's about as realistic as you can get without putting a bunch of floodlights just trying to drown the screen with abundance of light. That just isn't going to be a representation of what somebody is going to have in their home setting. Fast forward a little bit, kind of get some other stuff here. Let's take a look at the wolves here, see that the fur and the imagery is very, very natural. So again, most people, I don't know how many people actually have their ceiling lights on all the time. Let's go ahead and shut that off and give you an idea of what you can expect just from a few lamps on in the room. Our big one here is going to be our 1100 lumen light bulb here in the floor standing bulb. Now the bulb that came with it was only 450 lumens in terms of output, which is fairly soft. I put a higher lumen bulb in there just to brighten it up a little bit so that you guys could see that even with a higher lumen output bulb, that even as close as it is to the screen there, which is probably only about, I don't know, 8 to 9 feet away from the actual screen at eye level, it's still, the screen is handling it quite well. Okay, let's move away from the wolves here, and let's do some other stuff as well. You want to see a contrast black level demonstration. I don't think I've shown this one in a little while, so let's do this one as well. All the little droplets are there. Very, very nice. Now, as I let this kind of play out, these demonstrations, I'm going to start transitioning from a high ambient environment down to a ambient light low kind of situation here as I start to turn off some of the lamps in the room to demonstrate how things would look more like in a dark room situation. I'm going to turn the floor lamp off there. Now this is a little bit more like a low lumen, low ambient light situation might be in a typical living room, because the lights that I do have are here off to the side and the back of me here. Let me just get refocused so that we can get an exposure that is true to eye. That's pretty darn close. And again, I am noticing that it does appear like it kind of in camera, it looks like it's got a little bit of a hot spot here in the lower corner here. I'll try to point to it here. And that is because the screen is actually bowing a little bit there, and it's giving this kind of bulb effect. So the panel itself is not completely flat, but it's exaggerated here in the camera, and I'm not necessarily seeing that with my eyeballs here in the room. I've tried my best to flatten the panel out, but you know, it is what it is. I can screw it onto the wall and make it completely flat, but for demonstration purposes, just as an overview, I'm not going to go through that much trouble. I have not yet settled on a final destination for this small projection setup, primarily being used for gaming. But since I had Sirius A available, it was actually what I purchased from PARTAY, and I expressed interest in Sirius C as well. Maybe down the line that I would take a look at it, and Danny surprised me and sent that with the Sirius A order. So Sirius C was not what I initially ordered. I initially ordered Sirius A here, and then Sirius C was sent as kind of a surprise little buy one get one from Danny to me, and I appreciate that. And since Kenneth Bird is not willing to do a head-to-head kind of a battle royale, so to speak, with a reputable, independent, unconnected, unbiased YouTube or AV enthusiast, DIY enthusiast, review kind of head-to-head there, I decided to show this off to you guys so you guys can see how Sirius A performs along with how Sirius C performs. But none of this was really meant to be showcased on this channel necessarily. The channel was brought back so I'd have some access to some videos that were set to private. Because as my name keeps getting more and more prevalent in Kenneth Bird's conversations with lawsuits and things of that nature, I want to have access to those videos as evidence so that I have all my ducks in a row, just in case, you never know. But since I have this available, might as well show it off and show people an alternative if they're going to purchase a black screen paint or a dark screen paint from somebody. I would definitely, hands down, recommend PARTAY and the PSP lineup. Sirius C really surprised me being a little bit hesitant, a little not necessarily a fan of black screens in general, just based on my experiences. Sirius C really shocked me and performed well above what I would expect, even though I knew it was going to be good. I know that Danny makes a quality product, but it exceeded my expectations. And I'm seeing the same traits, here on Sirius A as well. Even though tone-wise, from just a blank appearance, it is lighter, and it is promoting a much brighter image. Not much, but I mean it's a little bit brighter than Sirius C. But as you can see, that the overall black level performance is still there as well. Let me find a different one maybe that we can look at that would be more like a black level test kind of deal. We'll just do this one. This is a fairly popular one that's got some dark tones and high contrast, kind of graphic looking look to it. And as you can see here, it performs absolutely incredible and it looks phenomenal. The screen has handled the ambient light in the room great. And as you can see, as we've turned off some of that, just like with any screen that's ever been produced, the less light you have at the screen, the better it's going to perform, or the better it should perform. That's not always the case based on what I've seen in the past from other folks, but with Sirius A here, that definitely holds true, and it's definitely a vivid, striking, rich, dimensional image that I'm seeing here on screen. Just the detail in the eyes there on the woman from the last scene was just popping out at me here in person. Very, very nice. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, let's switch to something else. Let's do the faces here really quickly so you can kind of see that. This gives you a high contrast area with also showing you the skin tones, different colors, different complexions, different textures in the skin. So you're able to see how this stuff looks in real time, in a real kind of legit environment. This is my everyday living room area. I live in this house. This is my house. This is how it's lit. This is how I keep it. So I want to be able to show you that without having it overproduced, right? So there's a lot of talk all the time about things being staged, and there's a difference between being staged to make things look a certain way, and there's a difference between that and then actually setting up so you can actually do a demonstration. And because this isn't my permanent screen, this isn't the screen that I use every day, I use an OLED TV, I have to do some sort of setup to give an example of how a natural lit environment would be, but there's nothing staged here in the demonstrations. Okay, let's finish out with something else here just to close out. And again, let's give you some natural ocean view here so we can kind of see some of the blues and how the blues are affected here. As soon as we get past the obnoxious. Okay, here's some ocean view here of some sea life and some coral and different things like that, just to kind of give you an idea of a wide range of content with forest and rich dark black levels and white levels, and I'm covering the whole spectrum here of the typical kind of content that you would see. I'll do another one of these probably with some video game content as well, so you guys can see how it performs there. But honestly, I don't know if there's an absolute need for it, because it's based on what I'm seeing here, you're likely to see more or less the same kind of level of performance that we saw from Sirius C, only maybe just a little bit brighter. You know, maybe those colors would be just have a little bit more luminosity to them. But I'm seeing a trend here in the PARTAY PSP lineup. I've seen Polaris before. There's been a lot of spin and a lot of narrative coming from some very sleazy individuals based around that, regardless of what they want to use and what arguments they want to put out there. The overall performance that I saw from Polaris and what it actually looks like in person, color tone wise and performance wise, Polaris is a great option as well for folks who just don't want to go black. The point is that there is a wide range of solutions, from white that may be the right choice for you in your environment, to light gray, to a mid gray, to a dark gray, to a gunmetal, to a charcoal black, to a pitch black screen. There is a solution for everybody in their environment, with their hardware and with their preferences, that you can find. And that's what the message should be, and that's what I'm trying to show you here with some different products from PARTAY over the course of the life of this channel. Nothing's really changed. Everything here is exactly what I expect to see from a well-designed, well-executed product. Great job from PARTAY here. The PSP lineup continues to impress, be affordable, and deliver performance beyond what I would expect from the competition out there in the black screen paint market. With that being said, guys, I'm going to bow out here and let you guys make the decision for yourself, because I can't make it for you. As long as you're better informed from a consumer standpoint to where you want to put your hard-earned dollars when you're trying to invest and start up a DIY kind of home theater setup, that's on you. I can't make that decision for you. But if it was me, you want to go dark, PSP, Sirius A, or Sirius C is definitely on top of that list for a paint solution, all right? Also, a quick shout out to Green Machine. Welcome back, sir, and I wish you all the best. All right, guys, take care, God bless, and we'll catch you on the wild side.